What were the challenges you had before coming on with neuroproductivity?
Specifically, I just felt overwhelmed because there were so many things that I wanted to dive into, and I didn't even really know how to start. My brain can be like, oh, but this idea and that idea. For me, there was a hesitancy around that because I was like, well, I don't know if this is going to help me. Do I need it? And so I really appreciated you were very kind and caring when I came to you and gave me space if I was struggling with something mentally that was stopping and blocking me. So I think that that's really beautiful about the work that you do, is that you're able to balance these energies. For me, personal development, investing in yourself is actually the greatest investment because you'll see it come back tenfold.
So we are going to be catching up with Steph today. Steph is a previous client that came through the neuroproductivity program. And just as we were leaving, she was setting up some really strong foundations for her website design agency. And Steph pinged me a message the other day saying, hey, I'm ready to hop on a call and do a video with you because I've just done 0 to 55, 0 to 60K in the last 2 months, days. Sure. So I wanted to come in and come crush it, talk about Steph's journey, and hopefully inspire you guys to do something with yourselves as well. So hi, Steph. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. So Steph, can you give some background into what exactly it is that you do, who you are in the world, and that kind of stuff?
For sure. Yeah. So last year, I had been stepping out of the role that I had for 7.5 years at a company. And I contacted you and your services because it was kind of an in transition time between my company and what I wanted to do next. And so Luke and I worked together in order to really build out these different systems to be like, okay, well, if I'm going to try this, let's make sure that I'm the most productive at it. So at first I tried social media marketing and saw if that's something that really pulled me. And then the other thing that I was interested in, but didn't know how it was going to come to be, was web design and graphic design and all these things. And in those 6 months between June and December, when we were working together, I had a good friend that has very complementary skill sets in web design, and we decided to start a company together. And so come January, we had ended our contract, and I took a month off to go surfing, as one does, because in the past, probably about 5 years, I've been traveling all around the world in Latin America. And then in January, we really kind of hit the ground running. We came together in Medellin, and it's really snowballed from there. It went from 0 to 55 in the first 2 months. And I'm now contracting 6 to 7 designers. I've found a head of operations. I'm finding quality testers, really starting to build out the team. But the foundations of being able to really get all this stuff done was through your program and being neuroproductivity and understanding my time and all of these great tools that I now have in my toolkit.
That was a beautiful overview. So thank you for really wholesome overview. So I'd be curious to hear, I know we built a lot of foundations for you. So what were the, challenges you had before coming on with neuroproductivity?
For sure. I think for me specifically, I just felt overwhelmed because there were so many things that I wanted to dive into, and I didn't even really know how to start. My brain can be like, oh, but this idea and that idea. And I think, as a lot of people are, a bit squirrel-like, I'm like, ooh, there's a golden object, and start doing that rather than really cementing out the day. Be like, what's the 12 things that I need to get done? How do they then block them out in time blocks? And then make sure that I'm actually structured in that way. And I just appreciated that there was accountability and consistency within the program that we would meet, on a weekly basis. And you would ask, what have you got done? What's outstanding? What are your blockers? Really having that consistent communication was really important to me in the accountability aspect, especially when you're kind of on your own and not really, being able to find your way, or having someone guide you is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you've been in the personal development space for a minute. We met at our friend's little manifestation event and stuff. So you're not unfamiliar to personal development and investing in yourself. And I know you did a retreat whilst we were together as well. What do you feel like was different to what we did compared to, maybe courses or other things that you've invested in that helped you out?
I think we touched on it in a bit, and I think this would be really important for a lot of people coming into the program is as much as you can utilize all the tools and, the flashy things that you're going to suggest, what I think you were really good at was actually the inner work aspect that really a lot of people gloss over because it's not the pretty stuff. It's like, oh, I just want to get all this stuff done. But if you have things that are self-sabotaging you, and your subconscious is doing that to you, it doesn't really matter how many tools you have because you're basically tossing your tools into the toolkit, if you know what I mean, like the analogy. And so I really appreciated you were very kind and caring when I came to you and gave me space if I was struggling with something mentally that was stopping and blocking me. So I think that that's really beautiful about the work that you do is that you're able to balance these energies. And it's very buzzworthy these days of, oh, your feminine energy and your masculine energy, but you brought them both together in a really beautiful way.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's the whole masculine feminine thing is definitely an interesting space at the moment. I think a lot of people get misconstrued and think that, you need just men being masculine and just women being feminine. But I think when you actually understand it, it's like you need both. Like you need feminine energy to be compassionate with somebody. You need masculine energy to make sure that somebody has structure and boundaries for themselves and don't people please. So it's really important stuff to have on both sides. So I'd love to know because there was a moment whilst we were coaching, which was I find it amusing. But I see it in a lot of high performers where it's like, oh, I don't need this thing. Like I've already done this. And it was when we started talking about like the different thought processes and inner work, and you're like, I've done a lot of inner work. Like I don't know if I need this, but talk me through how that was like. I know obviously we worked together to help you in those bits, but those moments where you were like, oh, I don't feel like I need this, but then went through it anyway and then actually came out the other side with something different.
I would say to anyone that if you say you don't need it, it's your ego that's coming up. It's like, yeah, you probably do. I think for me, I've realized my pattern, and you were the one to point this out to me, is that, or you just gave me, like, you gave an overview of tools. And then I finally was able to point out and realize that that's what I was doing myself, is that I very easily get sucked into creating a story. So if someone does something and I don't know what they believe or think, I've created my own story and catastrophizing it, of being like, oh, they believe this and but they haven't. And I could give you countless examples of my life where someone said something to me and instantaneously I think the worst. And they haven't said anything other than like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, this is something like that. And so that was really beautiful about that, because I've been able to pull into the rest of my life. I can see it in a pattern, and I can go through and be like, you know what, I'm going to ask them how they're doing. Like, what do they actually think? And I should get more information rather than believing a story that I built for myself. So yeah, I needed it. That's what we'll say.
It's hard because like as like high performers, we ride somewhat off of ego because it gets us through and we get things that we want from it, but then it can really blind us where we're like literally have like blinders on, being like, no, it's fine, like I don't, and then it's like, no, nope, we need to work on this. So yeah, it's a journey for sure for a lot of people. What do you think made you decide to work with me specifically? Because I know there was actually a little hesitation before starting to work with me. I think you were like, yeah, I'm going to come back when I've got a routine together. And I was like, Steph, like, this is why you need my help.
I think initially, because as I told the story at the beginning, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was in this phase of transitioning out of a role. I was stepping into the unknown and really just in this state of trust with the universe that whatever step I was going to take, the next one would show itself. So knowing that you don't need to see the entire staircase to take the first step. And I think for me, there was a hesitancy around that because I was like, well, I don't know if this is going to help me. Do I need it? And I think if anyone's in that state of needing someone to coach them and guide them, or even stepping out of a role that they're not completely fulfilled by, because that's where I was at, and knowing that the fear that's holding you back, once you step past that, that a world of expansion is available to you. And perhaps you just need someone to guide you, to allow you then to explore different modalities or different opportunities, and something else will pop up and showcase itself to you.
Yeah, I love that.
I feel like whenever I start installing new mantras, affirmations, it's the same for me as well. Like I've changed some things recently for myself, and then even the mentors that have been popping up have been completely different, because there are a lot of people on the market, but it's like, use the right fit for you in your specific situation. I think, like you said, like when you're in trust of the universe and trust of that coming to fruition, it just opens up.
I think the more that you invest in yourself, the more you'll see your reality change. I didn't tell you this at the beginning of the conversation, but I went and did a 5-night darkness retreat in which you literally sit in the dark.
Yeah.
Before I went, we were at 20K, and I came out of the dark. So you basically go into the void, and I came out of the dark, and my business partner was like, oh, we're at 55, which means we had tripled our sales. I was like,
well, that wasn't working though.
But I think that says, like, when you are able to, change your environment or change the people around you, you can change your reality quite quickly and step into a different timeline.
Sign up to darkness retreat now.
But that's got to be done. I actually don't know if there's any here in Bali, and I actually need to look. I'll message a few chats, but yeah. Was there anything surprising or unexpected about the approach that we took with you along your journey?
I don't think it was unsurprising. I think for me, like I said before, like what I really appreciated about the entire experience was that you were so open, available, understanding, and really guided through the experience. And I don't say that just, because I'm on a testimonial. It's because I truly felt like you cared about my success and where I was going, which is one of the reasons I reached back out and wanted to have this conversation, because I think that anyone that works with you really does get to level up and see a person and a version of themselves come to fruition that they haven't before. And I just needed in that moment someone that was accountable to me and wanting to see me succeed. And I don't know, I'd be exactly where I am today, but I just appreciate that time frame of having you.
Absolutely. Why is that important to you?
I think we're moving into a state as a society that it's more about conscious capitalism than capitalism in its strict sense of something that's super transactional. Is that people want to work with people that truly care about their final results. And that's even that we're doing with this web design agency. I'm working with a lot of holistic practitioners, people that I really resonate and I want to see more of in the world. And so they can tell, even when I hop on a sales call with them, that I truly care about what they're bringing forward. And I think that that's what they ultimately are looking for in a provider. It's like, okay, well, you can get me there. Like, that's where the transformation is. I'm really good at delivering my service. I just don't know how to market myself. And it's meant that we probably closed almost 100% of the sales calls that we're having, because the people that we're attracting to us are just so in line with who we want to work with. And I just feel so connected to what they're talking about in their mission, and it feels like it's together. And I think that that's where you come in, is like, you truly care about your client's success. It's not coming from a place of, oh, I just want to get money from them. And it's then an energetic exchange. Money is just it's a barter system that we live in within today. But it means that I'm getting something out of this relationship, and so are you, because it ultimately allows you to pursue your purpose in addition to mine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can't speak to it enough. I think something that's been interesting is we've had a couple clients recently that are in pivot of their business or just need to like niche down a little bit more. And within that, I have some ideal client documents in my background, from all of my time over working, and I've adjusted some of them to include red flags and green flags, both from like a tangible point and intangible point, as well as like how aligned to working with this person am I? Because if you bring in something that you're not aligned with, it just you just end up going like this. And for business owners, sometimes people with ADHD as well, like the rejection of that can like really send them down not a way that doesn't serve them. So it's great that you started off from that place of saying, hey, we really want to be aligned with everyone that we work with. So it's really special to see that.
I was like, I just don't want to work with anyone that I don't like. Stuff. I just don't care enough about money that much. I'm like, well, I don't want it.
Yeah, and you come from such an empowered state when you're in that of like, hey, well, we're not gonna do that. And it's the same for me as well. Like I've definitely learned that lesson the hard way along my pathway, but not within this offer that I do now, but within my first year of business, and just being like the first coach was just like sign everyone up. And then I was like, but I'm not like ready for like some of these people, or like I'm not ready to like even be in alignment with speaking to this person each week because it's just not a good fit. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to know, some people worry, I guess, about surrendering their ego and admitting that they need support. What would be your advice to another high performer type who maybe is having some struggles, having some patterns, but is thinking, yeah, I can figure this out by myself, or I'll come back later?
Interesting. It's never been an issue with me. I personally think that it's such a beautiful way to incorporate other people's perspectives that perhaps there's a blind spot that you're not seeing. And the more that I've invested in myself, the more I've seen it reflected in my external, not just in terms of monetary. I think monetarily, I think a lot of people focus on that too much, but just the general joy that I'm able to bring to every single day, that there's a sense of connection and love with all that I do and the people that I surround myself with, and the general world at large. And that in itself, I don't think you can put a price on that. And so for me, personal development, investing in yourself is actually the greatest investment because you'll see it come back tenfold.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I think everything that I've invested in, I've taken golden nuggets from, lessons from, perspectives from. Even things that haven't worked out well, like I've still been able to take things from. So yeah, it's been a journey. I'm sure it would continue to be a journey. Like it's not just been a journey, it's going to continue to be one. I'd love to know, like, for those people who like are concerned about whether this work would work for them, for their like specific scenario, specific situation, how customized did you find the approach was that we took?
I thought it was incredibly customized. I came to you and saying that I needed help with XYZ in terms of kind of organizing my time. How do I then optimize and figure out, what are the drivers? Because ultimately you have levers that you have at your disposal, inputs and outputs. And if you're putting the right inputs in, you're going to get the right outputs. And having someone that has that mindset around it was incredibly helpful. And then you offered a variety of tools to test for me to see which ones actually started to resonate and that I could utilize, because someone's framework isn't going to work for you depending. Someone's very, static framework may not work for every single person. So I think that you put some time and thought into other options. If I was struggling to utilize one of your tools, you would then offer a couple others that I could then try and then really bring something together that was then much better suited for the way in which I work and to make it more efficient.
Yeah, That's why or I'm always so big on it. It's like learning how to build systems that work for your brain, not against it, is how I put it out into the world. But it's like every different person, whether they're higher up on the ADHD spectrum or whatever they've come through within trauma or their life or self-sabotage, everybody's going to have their different flavor of things. But what's most important is finding a system that you can trust and that you can use effectively for you. And I think that's a big challenge out in the world, especially within the coaching space. And I understand it because it's marketing, but it's kind of like fitness when they're like, hey, do keto. No, go on a vegan diet. No, you need to do carnivore. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, there is all of these different things, but you got to find what works best for you. And then when we have that, let's just work out how to streamline that. So yeah, I mean, Steph, if there was anybody who was on the fence about doing something, maybe investing in me, maybe investing in a new teammate, maybe even connecting with a business partner like you have, because I know I had some initial resistance when I had my first business partner. What advice would you give them if they were on the fence? What hard perspective maybe you'd give?
I feel like I'm probably in the more woo-woo side of things. So this may resonate with someone or it's not. But I think where we need to go as a society is to become much more in tune with the inner knowing and the intuition that we hold. Because everyone knows deep down, as you start to connect with yourself, the right choice, you're just logically in your mind instead of in the body to be able to actually feel what feels right. And for me, it's also meant that I can be incredibly discerning about the people that I bring into my life, the types of coaches that I bring, my business partner. We're so incredibly aligned in so many ways that it's so much easier to work together than I'd ever found before working in a company. And I think people would be so much better served for themselves if it could make those decisions instead of being like, oh, I'm on the fence. I have one foot in one side, one on the other. I have no idea what option I want to take. But if you really felt into the body and really felt like, okay, well, how does this one option feel? Does it feel expansive? Do I feel lighter? Or does the other option, do I feel contracting? Do I feel kind of heavy? Does it give me a lot of worry and anxious thoughts? And that's when you can really start to find the path. Life ends up being kind of like this fun scavenger hunt where you start to feel into each option and then find where you're meant to go or where you choose to go.
That's so beautiful. I like the analogy. I'm going to take that. I already do some aspects of I feel I need, but just being able to space with that sort of inner knowing is it's magnetic, because not a lot of people actually lead business like that, or you get people that are in the spiritual space, but they don't necessarily then transmute that into a ton of actions. And
no, we have. There's a very much a dichotomy in the moment of either people are incredibly spiritual, they're, one with the earth, but they don't want to be materialistic. Or you have people that are incredibly materialistic and very disconnected from themselves. And I think where we're meant to go as a society is, for me, if I become more abundant and wealthy, it only gives me the opportunity to give to more people. It actually serves no one else if I'm poor, I haven't brought in much in terms of money and resources. We live in a society in which, in order to have impact, you need to have resources at hand. So that's what's driving me, is I want to create something in the world in which then I can give to others and showcase that there's such incredible opportunities in the world for them and anyone that chooses to see that with a different perspective. And I think that you share the same viewpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. Just in the space of it feels selfish not to be rich, because I'm I know what I'm doing with the money. I literally have allocation pots. I said a while back, when I die, I want to be on the, what's it called? Special list. I don't know if you know of it. It's a list, you give away 99% of your wealth when you pass. The Giving Pledge, I think it's called. Yeah, and I just think money's going to circulate either way. So it's would you rather it go into things that are going to be of servitude, or would you rather it go into things that maybe aren't as beneficial to society? Yeah. So, Steph, like, what do you feel like you're most excited about now over the rest of the year, now that you've seen these initial results?
I simply just love waking up in the morning and the types of problems that I get to solve. I think I had really, as I was saying before, I had been in the same role for 7.5 years. And for a lot of people to step out of that into something new feels very scary. And for me, I've now seen that fear is the path. Like fear, where we do fear is actually, if you can step past that, as I was saying before, there's such an opportunity for expansion beyond it. And even if we're not at the point in which I'm making as much as I was before, there's such a expansive opportunity that I know will continue to snowball as we start to work with new clients and referrals are coming in. And I just know that we're going to be successful. There's just a deep knowing around that. And if you follow your passion and things that bring you joy and that you can then give to others and use that as your gifts in a way that help others, it just seems like you'll get what you give in return. And yeah, I was excited to see where the rest of the year comes. When we first started, our goal was around 20K, and I felt good about that. And now we're at 50K, and I was like, okay, well, now it's going to be 100K, and why don't we set a goal of 500K by the end of the year? They really just kind of feel like the sky is the limit, and what opportunities are going to come because of that. And yeah, I was excited to see it all come together.
Absolutely. It's been a joy. I've had a ton of fun on this call with you. Is there any last things that you want to share with the audience that you feel may help them, serve them, or anything that you feel good to sharing?
No, I think if anyone is on the fence about working with you, I speak from from the truth of working with someone like yourself, that you have such a great heart and that you really do care and that you want to see people succeed. And so people would be very well served if they need someone for that type of support of really reorganizing their life, bringing things into manifest, as you might say, the manifestation aspect of taking the idea and actually bringing it into the world and having someone guide you in that way. I think that you are incredibly supportive and very very effective at it.
Yeah. I was like, I don't want to speak for you, but I was like, maybe she means attentive. I was like, maybe that's it. But
you can cut that part out. Just do little displays.
Okay, cool. So Steph, if anybody wants to reach out to you to like get curious, maybe they're on the fence, maybe they're like, I want to do something, but I want to speak to Steph first. Where's best for contacting you, would you say?
For sure. My personal Instagram is at Steph Harps, private account, so you can just send me a DM. Or we started a company, it's called Max Capacity Marketing. So you can find us at maxcapacityagency.com or on Instagram.
Oh yeah, that's what's up. Okay, with that said, if you took anything from this video, let us know down below. But Steph, we appreciate you. It's been so good catching up, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Peace.